Trout here. I would like to invite you to join me in helping to launch the DCF fund. Now, what is the DCF fund? The Decentralized Crypto Fund is really important because ultimately the profits, the net profits of this fund are going to fund DANOs, which are distributive autonomous nonprofit organizations, which is going to be blockchain 2.0. Right now, blockchain 1.0 is developing the infrastructure. 2.0 is actually going to be the organizational structure. And blockchain 3.0 is actually going to be a new business model, which I call social capitalism. And social capitalism is going to replace our capitalism model right now, just as social media in many respects is replacing our media system here. It's no different. So this isn't communist or anything else. It's just a different way. And the all these future entities out there are going to be what I think are going to be distributive autonomous nonprofit organization, or decentralized autonomous nonprofit organization. AI is going to replace boards, going to replace organizations, going to replace so much of the kind of headache of running a company. It's all going to be autonomously driven. But let's go step back here. The DCFs, Distributive Crypto Fund, are there to fund DANOs in the future. But right now, as we launch them, we can take advantage of this fledgling market that's going to grow, as you know, in a hyper scale over the next, next 5 years is going to be hyper growth. And the best way to think of a DCF is it's like a solar panel, right? That's the DCF. And then each cell in the solar panel is actually an ICO or a token or a coin, right? And it's really important that you understand is that the DCF fund is 100% backed. What does that mean? It means that we don't give any perks to advisors. We don't give any perks to people promoting. We don't do airdrops, bullshit, or any of that crap, right? To create hype. There's no reason to create hype. The fund is built on technologies that as a community we vetted and that we feel are the most important. So as participants of the fund, you'll get to choose and vote for which funds go into it. And ultimately, you'll be able to launch different DCF funds. We're launching the first one, 100% backed crypto fund. So we have $100,000 that we are putting in cryptos, right? And we're looking for other folks who have $100,000 in cryptos, which will be willing to put their tokens in an escrow, right? Why an escrow? Because as a group, we will take a loan out, right, of half the value of what we raise through our Reg D 506 offering, right, in cryptos. The other folks will be able to invest in the company and get shares of FoundUps Capital LLC. We're going to create a number of feeder entities. So maybe you want to run a feeder entity in your country. And the beautiful thing about the blockchain is it's all transparent. Everything we do is 100% transparent. We want to make sure that we adhere to all of the anti-laundering, money laundering, and everything else. We want to ensure that we will qualify for an A+ offering in the US, because ultimately when all of this kind of crap in the US opens up, and we're there with folks like, hey, you don't have to understand the blockchain. All you have to do is, swap out your Ethereum or your Bitcoin in for a 100% backed DCF token. 100% backed DCF token. So I'm hoping that you will join me in launching the DCF fund. And the DCF fund is a very small part of a vision to change and transform our entire global economic system. And that's a whole nother talk. My name is Mike Trout. I've been in this space a long time, and I even worked with the founders of Ethereum over a short time, sharing the vision of FoundUps. And I'll tell you, the purpose of the blockchain isn't to make you a billionaire. The purpose of the blockchain isn't to undo centralization. The purpose of the blockchain is to usher in a new business paradigm that puts our planet and its living systems first over profits. That replaces this insane business model called capitalism, built on this insane notion of compounded annual growth rate, which is infinite growth on a finite resource. There's only finite resources here. And it's not the fault of the business model. You know, it's just the way it was designed back in the late 1700s when they were trying to entice folks with money to invest in railroads and you know, steam engines and factories and everything else, and came up with this whole idea of compounded annual growth rate. They never understood that at some point they'd cut down all the trees, they'd start polluting the atmosphere, they'd start destroying the fisheries, polluting its waters, destroying our coral reefs. And the purpose of the blockchain is to introduce basically an alternative business model that will not value things based on the return they provide to a few investors, but to provide returns to companies that ultimately will help. Like, you gotta love Harley Davidsons. Will provide returns based on the benefit that these organizations do for our planet. And that new economic system is called social capitalism. It's not socialism, it's social capitalism. And it has the same distinction as social media. Doesn't mean socialist media. Social capitalism, social media just means that it's a decentralized, bottom-up system built on a whole new framework. And DCFs will fund DANOs, which are decentralized, autonomous, nonprofit organizations that will create this kirexu of organizations that I described in 2010 as the open corp cloud. And these open corporations, these DANOs, right, will solve all these problems around our planet, localized problems. And it won't matter if they're actually making money in this new model. What will matter is if they're solving problems. And the participation of individuals will become like miners. Just as people are running computers to solve a problem, people who are solving localized problems, providing eggs to the community here, growing food for the community, planting trees. So all these houses right now are unsustainable, but in the future, every one of these will be sustainable. This community will self-sustainable, and it will provide all the food it needs. It will provide, you know, all the objects it needs. But it all starts with DCF funds.